Hi, and welcome everyone to our weekly Fuel Arts Art and Tech online webinar broadcast series. My name is Denis Belkevich. I'm the general partner and CEO of Fuel Arts, and with me is our co-host Sonia Stubblebine, the project manager of Fuel Arts. So together, on the weekly basis, we're exploring the art tech ecosystem together with you, strategists, startups, investors. So merging the two worlds, the world of VC and the world of art tech. First of all, I'd like to remind you that Fuel Arts and Tezos in early 2023 will run a first joint acceleration program for our tech startups. So that will be an equity-free 11-week online program where we provide 10 selected startups with the opportunity to implement Tezos tech tools with the top professional mentors, among which are industry leaders, serial entrepreneurs, investors, and of course, the representatives of the Tezos ecosystem. So the application's deadline is December 30th. So only 2 weeks are left. The sooner you apply, the more attention you receive from our strict but very fair due diligence team. Looking forward to see your applications. Um, those who follow Fuel Arts, of course, saw one of our reports, let's say our contribution to the collector's world, which we issued in October. That was Art Collector's Field Guide, where we tried to assemble, to put together recommendations how to maintain art and how to relate to art objects during the crisis period. So there in that collector's guide, which you could freely download from your website, yeah, that's how it looks. So you could easily find it on our website, fuelars.com. So there inside the Art Collectors Field Guide, we had several case studies. And one of the interviews was very important. There were two curators who represent digital art world, and they were giving their tips on how to, let's say, buy, sell, and maintain digital art, especially during the bear market trend. Yes, you could see their faces. That were Auronda Scalera and Alfredo Cramerotti. So now it's time to invite them to our webinar because, as well as they're very established curators known in the art world and also appreciated by the digital art community, they are also co-founders of XXnft, a publishing platform for women and non-binary in NFTs. So yeah, hello Auronda, hello Alfreda.
Hello,
Great to
hello.
see you here. Please let me make a short introduction to your biographies. If there is even one person in the world who doesn't know who you are, which I have doubts, of course, reasonable doubts. So we should do that. Let's start with Auronda. Yes, I said that she's a co-founder of XXnft, but also she's a co-director of Infinity Art Museum on the Verse and curator and consultant for contemporary art, contemporary and digital arts. She's based in London and Dubai. Upcoming projects of Auronda include the organization of panels about NFTs and museums for plusTATE in London and IKT, International Association of Curators of Contemporary Art. Alfredo Cramerotti is the director of Mostyn Gallery and also co-director of Infinity Art Museum on the Verse, advisor at British Council Acquisition Committee and UK Government Art Collection. Wow. So he curated 4 national pavilions and collateral events at the Venice Biennale, EXPO Film and Video in Chicago, and the biennials like Sequences VII and Manifesta 8. And also, both Auronda and Alfredo will be the curators during the next Venice Biennale for the Central Art Pavilion. Great. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. It's really nice to be here. Thank you.
So yeah, let's start our traditional question answer mode. As soon as we're here to speak about digital art and your startup and your startup platform XXnft. So the obvious question which comes first is how did you shift your career from traditional physical art to the digital one?
Who starts? Auronda, do you want to start?
Yes, okay, I can
Go for
start.
it.
There is a bit of noise. I don't know who is here.
I think it's probably me because I'm in an open office and there is some people around. Actually, I will mute myself while you're talking.
Okay. So, how we shift? I think that we never shift. We follow our study. For example, my studies come from contemporary art and digital art. And 3 years ago, when I was in Dubai, there is a big community about crypto and digital art, and they involve me in this community, and I start from that point basically, and I was so enthusiastic to be there and to meet all the artists, all the curator that was there. And when I come back in London, I decide to keep going with this kind of career. And then for me, the shift is never happened. It was like a natural way.
Yeah, I can reiterate that point for myself as well, actually, because I've been working with one foot in the art and one foot somewhere else in contemporary art, let's say physical gallery based contemporary art, and one foot somewhere else actually for a long time. And previous than Mostyn, the institution I'm directing now, I was involved in Quads, which was a England based hybrid institution, still is, between film and media and contemporary art, for instance. So I've done actually some radio programs and TV programs and web program back in the 2000. Like, it reveals how old I am, but actually it has been kind of a gradual, not really a shift, it's just an evolution. And Auronda, we talked often about how, because we both actually work in the contemporary world and the NFT and crypto art world and the digital sphere, let's say. But for us, it's basically an expansion of the contemporary art world, as the contemporary is an expansion of the modern art world. There's not really break there. Actually, is an expansion, is an evolution, is a journey basically for the artist first of all, and for us curators, and hopefully for collectors too.
Sounds great. And Auronda, could you tell us more about XXnft? Like, what's the story behind? How did you start working together, and how basically you came up with this idea?
So I want to say for first one thing that double X is a female chromosome, and the science say that is the perfect chromosome because the Y1 is the male chromosome with some mistake. Okay. No, it's true. It's what say the scientists.
It's true. It's actually true. I mean, the Y1 is a defective chromosome, so that what makes the XY of males.
And for that reason, we decide to call Double X NFT this project, this publishing platform to promote women artists in crypto. And because when I was in all these talk or conference, there was only few women there. There are all men. And then we decide to promote and more women than men. That was our thought about.
And it's also it's also market-based fact, really, because I mean it's 95% of the market for NFT. Specifically, if we talk about NFT, is actually male, and more specifically male and white. And out of the 10 top selling artists, NFT artists, 9 are men, and the only female there is actually Grimes, who's technically is not even an NFT artist. It's like a musician and as a public sort of a figure that happened to actually have produced NFT. So we thought actually there was a bit of a historical pattern here. If we think about all the modern and contemporary masters from 50s, 60s, 70s. Let's keep, for instance, the New York in the 70s, which was a cradle of creativity in terms of modern and contemporary art. Most of them actually, the celebrated figure were actually male, and there was as many male as female artists back then, but they gained zero visibility for a number of reasons, mainly actually cultural reasons. And now, since 5-10 years, we are kind of chasing those female figures and giving them sole exhibitions in major museums around the world. But we are actually 50 years late or 60 years late. So we are kind of chasing things, and few of them are still alive. And with this nascent sort of a space of crypto and NFT, we saw that there was a similar pattern going on from a art historian point of view. And we decided, okay, let's change the stats. Let's try to do something concrete and give visibility and promote the work of female or female identifying or non-binary artists that are, they have something to say. They are there. There are a lot of them, and they're fantastic work, but they don't gather that sort of attention. They don't gain the visibility that their male counterparts do. That was the basic line actually to start XXnft, which actually also we are expanding under the umbrella Multiplicity. We give sort of a attention, and we produce actually features, interviews, exhibition to highlight the work and the value of diversity in art. So not only kind of the female part of it, but also other form of diversity in general.
Alfredo, and the data that you provided, is it the data of this year or like 2020 or 2021?
It was 2021. It was the ArtNet report 2021.
Right. I was just wondering, is there some difference right now? Do you see the difference that there are more females this year, for example, in crypto art? Do we see the shift, like a positive shift?
No, the data is the same, even in 2022, but there are much more female now that try to promote themselves and to find a new way to promote themselves. But the data is still the same, because I look recently at some report, is exactly the same.
I think there are probably more awareness that something needs to change in a way, and we are kind of contributing our little bit to that, but we are not the only one. Actually, there are other sort of organization and platform highlighting this sort of a need to rebalance things, and possibly rebalance from the very beginning rather than 50 years later.
Of course.
Possibly in some year, maybe this chart will change. If everyone will be much more involved in these causes, maybe yes.
Thank you. We are starting receiving comments, and we'll be constantly showing it to you, Ryan, your colleague from the art tech and Web3 ecosystem, is with us again, sending us the rays of happiness, joy, and good wishes. Also we have a question that could be a nice addition to the question I wanted to ask you. So is XXnft invitation only, or can any female artist join? So I would add this question to my one, which is, okay, could you please tell us about the user case? In other words, how can both artists and let's say art lovers use your platform? And thank you, Annette, for the question.
For now, we are me and Alfredo. We are scouting all the artists, but we do not exclude that in the future some female artists or underrepresented artists can write to us and ask if they can join us.
But at the moment, yeah, we because we are a team of 5, so not many people, and with us also in terms of artist liaison, there is India Prize, and we are kind of trying to keep up with wherever we go around or online or in physical places, and see actually great work. We gather sort of the contact and the knowledge, and we basically have about 100 interviews at the moment. We publish only 15 of them because we kind of pace the publication, and in parallel to that, we also have exhibition that we are organizing because we've been invited to organize exhibition around this theme and this approach, let's say, and this take. So we did one in October on Super Rare. We did a Central Pavilion. We're doing another one actually in February, and another one in March and May. So we are kind of suddenly actually the work exploded. we try to keep up, and we do our best, but actually we at the moment we don't accept sort of unsolicited approaches. I mean, we do accept because our contact details are public, and but we can't guarantee that we go back to everyone actually. So that's the thing.
It's happened that some artists contact me, and I start a conversation with them because I like their artwork. Then they can, if they want, they can reach me out, and let's see what's up.
We are open to that. Actually, we can't promise that we go back to everyone. That's the thing. And also the exhibition we organize are always around a certain theme and topic, and because it's a service not only for the artists but for the collectors too. And we are kind of keen on that, actually, not just to sort of drop something random just because we like it, but we try to create these narratives because we believe that narratives has an impact culturally now in the future.
We spend like many months to build an exhibition. It's not a quick thing that come up out of the blue.
Of course. Also, Alfredo, you just mentioned a couple of minutes ago that you did so many interviews. What do you focus on in these interviews? Do you highlight stories of artists, or you interview artists separately? What the concept do you have?
The focus is on their artwork or their practice from the beginning, how they start their career in NFT, because we are all curious, and about their last artwork or their first artwork. Basically is on their practice.
Yeah, we have about, let's say, 10 questions, give or take. The first half is more straight questions about how they started and what is their approach, what they're doing now, and the second half is a bit more technical, so digging into their philosophical approach, if you want, into their technical approach, if they work with a team, how they work with a team, if they have a user experience in mind, as using Dennis actually term before. So the second half is a bit more kind of meaty in terms of answers as well as questions. And we think actually the artists so far are always been really but we had no artists who say no thanks. So they're all very engaged in supporting, because it's in a way is a common effort, and we do it also for the good of the whole community, as well as because actually we like to do it, and and that's something that is recognized, I think, by the artists themselves.
Yeah, and then there is another thing. In general, you discover some artists and you organize with them an exhibition, but we are trying to find another way. Then you start with an interviews, and then you organize an exhibition, and you can go in deep with an interview with their practice.
I think we lost Auronda for a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes internet connection prevents even.
Yeah, but it was she was saying that rather than organizing an exhibition and then following up with an interview or a feature, we often actually start from the content of the interview to build basically a narrative out of it for that artist or for other artists too coming in.
Actually, I was witnessing your approach towards interviews during the last Art Basel. So as I saw, you and Auronda have been constantly talking to artists and to art strategists. So yeah, that's what I really like. That's how curators should do their customer discovery and customer development. Yes, Nanda, thank you so much. Yeah, great to hear about this topic. Great to hear that you appreciate it and you take care.
Yeah, welcome back.
Sorry. Little bit of problem with my
internet is still centralized, so once it is built on Tethys, it will be unbreakable, inflexible, and invincible, I suppose. My next question is, so why women are still underrepresented in the NFT sector?
Because women is underrepresented even in the contemporary art, and basically is the same environment. For that reason, we are trying to revert this part with some collector, because all the artists can survive only because there are collectors that collect them. Then we are trying to make this group or this community about only collector that collect female and underrepresented artists.
Which is our next project.
Spoiler.
Yeah, the spoiler alert. But it's, I think there is that also a second reason. It could be that because the crypto art world, it's somehow has been revealed through the cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology, which historically has been sort of male dominated as a sector. Kind of a finance and investment, and it's always kind of a heavily kind of a steer toward kind of a male presence. So I think naturally, probably organically, there were more actually male artists trying to kind of explore this idea of the blockchain for artwork. But surely the approach that both in contemporary art world and the digital art world, actually female are still underrepresented is a fact.
Thank you. We have a question from Annette, another question from Annette, which also corresponds to what you've said. I mean, it continues the questions about bridging physical and digital art in some cases. So do you consider artists whose physical art will always be their first passion, but also want to get into NFTs? So do you consider those artists for your platform? And I would also add my addition, do you consider them capable to build an NFT career, successful NFT artist, I mean, digital art career?
Of course, we have some artists that they start from physical art and they end up in NFT. But making NFT have to have a sense It's not because I don't know, you're a sculptor. At one point, you decide, okay, I want to produce an NFT. Then we try to make sense.
Yeah.
Or you have
That's what we advise to artists when we talk about it, and maybe they never drop an NFT, they never produce anything like that, and they say, well, I said, why do you want to do it, first of all?
Yeah.
What was the reason behind? Is it just is an economical reason? Is a financial reason? Is a career prospect reason? Is it something that you want to investigate and explore because what you have to say it fits that sort of a format? Is it because of you want to reach out demographics and a collector scene that you're not reaching out? So these questions are good questions that we pose to artists. With any curator should actually have this conversation with an artist when they have a conversation, really. So it's for sure we are considering. I mean, as mentioned before, for us, it's an expansion of the contemporary art world. It's not a replacement.
Thank you. Auronda, I actually have a separate question to you, because as Dennis was introducing you today, I was very curious. You just started a role this year, as I understand, as digital and NFT talks curator at Tate. So working there and building that, what do you think Tate actually think of like digital art and NFTs? What's their perspective on that?
Then about digital art, for them it's not new things, because they promote, they expose digital art. About NFT, it's a new word. Then all the museum, because it's plusTATE, that is this company that where there
is a network.
Is a network about all the museum and institutional museum. Then all the museum are trying to understand what is this blockchain, crypto, NFT world. And then we are helping them to understand this new world.
Yeah, the plusTATE is basically a network of the main modern and contemporary art organizations in the UK. So there are 48 of them, plusTATE, hence the name. And we are part of it. Actually, Mostyn is part of it, and Auronda is organizing actually with as a joint sort of initiative between the plusTATE and the IKT, which is the Association of Curators of Contemporary Art, a webinar specifically on this topic, like museums and NFT, to basically kind of break open this thing and say, okay, what kind of an NFT do for museums? And we know what they can do at the moment is mainly, I would say, focus on fundraising and income generation, or the digitalization of a physical work of a collection, then fragmenting it and then putting for sale this kind of a tokens. So there is all this kind of a emphasis on the fundraising aspect, but there is a lot more of it beyond that, like in terms of narrative, storytelling, engagements, outreach, the whole demographics actually, which are native to the NFT, which museums are starving to reach out, and strangely enough, they're not considering actually using NFT for those. So I think, Auronda, you put together a good panel for the 25th of January, addressing specifically this.
For example, MoMA Museum recently sold, 60 million of their collection to replace with NFT and crypto art. And in Art Basel, one Bored Ape was set up next to the Warhol, I don't want to be wrong, in the museum. Then slowly, step by step, I think in a couple of years, now that we are speaking about NFT, crypto, will be in all the museums all around the world.
I believe if Warhol was still alive, so he would have created Bored Apes.
He would have loved it.
Yes, right.
He would have loved it.
Absolutely. Alfredo, I was actually curious what you said right now about the narrative. I did get the part about fundraising. I understand the part about demographics, like reaching that audience to museum. But what did you mean about narrative? How it can change it for museums?
Well, what we do as museum, we basically absorb what's going on a societal level, societal level, and we basically invite artists to reflect on it and translating those sort of impressions and reflection into visual art exhibitions, but also learning, education, outreach, engagement. Is not just about exhibition making. It's really about creating different type of narratives who can have an impact on the community where the museum or the gallery sits. NFT, to me, actually, as I can see them, are a very effective tool in that sense. I mean, because they're kind of a much more accessible, because the digital, B, much more actually quick as well in terms of the production timeline. And we kind of a joke among ourselves sometimes that we, kind of when we organize an exhibition in real life, we work with 2 years lead in time. And when we work with NFT artists, we say, okay, just give me a call in 18 months. And then we talk about it because their time, production is compressed. That's the way they work. And I think museum would need to adapt to that one and become much more nimble in that sense. And that, I think, in terms of narrative, is a super important thing, because by being nimble and more quick, you can produce sort of more. You can experiment more. You can try different ideas in a subsequent sort of a series of programs, for instance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alfredo and Auronda. Sonia asked you about your experience. I mean, Auronda's experience and curatorial practice at Tate. And I'd like to ask you about the upcoming Venice Biennale, because, this year, from all the persons who came to the Venice Biennale, I've heard, wow, what a great decentral art pavilion. What a great decentral art pavilion. I said, but have you seen the, let's say, traditional Giardini and Arsenale? Yes, but what an amazing decentral art pavilion. So it's like that Art Basel. Everyone was talking since 2020 first about digital art, NFT, and Tez's pavilion. So could you please just open for our listeners and viewers, open the curtain? What are you planning for, let's say, 2024? Maybe uncover a part of the secret.
Tell us a secret.
Then we are still in conversation, but for sure, I think that at one point, even the official Venice Biennale will accept a digital pavilion, because now we are organizing these things with Florencia Xavier of the Central Art Pavilion. And was an amazing pavilion that we saw last year. I think even you was there. And we'll try to improve for the next year. Just today, the Biennale announced the curator, Alfredo.
Adriano Pedrosa, yeah. Smart guy.
Yeah. So I'm super happy. And then we are trying to figure out which will be, because this environment about NFT and crypto is really fast. Then you have to think in 2 years in advance, and 2 years in a crypto world.
It's a huge amount of time.
It's like 15 years. Then we are trying to figure out which is the future.
So we are in conversation, obviously, with the Central Pavilion, and also with some of the artists to try to think through it the way we want to create the basis for the narrative. And so, It's too soon now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. But thank you again.
Yeah,
for,
but
for,
yes,
for
we
your
will try
try.
to figure out the future.
Because the top question for me, for us at Feel Arts, is under what name digital art will be represented, let's say, in 2 years. Because 5 years ago it was crypto art, then blockchain art, then again digital art, then NFTs, and now more and more people call it generative art and
Gen
AI
art.
art.
Yeah,
So what will be the next name? Of course, the digital assets, we should agree with that. They came to our life forever. And art will be always acting as a standard breeder in, let's say, development of digital assets. So the question of the name is the
it's
most
an interesting
important.
question, because in when we did actually a couple of panels for the NFT New York City in London in November, which was over 2.5 days actually at the beginning of November, and a lot of the panels that we attended, they would actually question the terminology of NFT. And not just for art. I mean, talking about DeFi and fashion and gaming and art. There was this constant sort of a question that does it make sense to call them NFT? Do we want to? I mean, and the event itself was called NFT London, so it was like kind of a interesting sort of a self-reflection. But I think it's a good question, because maybe in 2 years' time we won't use this term NFT anymore, or not so often. We will kind of shift the emphasis onto something else. NFT at the end of the day is a medium, is the certificate of authenticity. You don't call a painter canvas artist, do you?
Yes, or frame artworks.
Frame artwork. You don't do it.
Frame artworks in the museums.
So I think
we say just artworks, right?
Yeah.
Right.
The digital part of it probably needs to be sort of addressed, because that's sort of a native to a lot of artists we're working with. But if it is NFT or not, that's an open question.
Yeah, there should be, of course, art behind any NFT or FTN or TNF, whatever you call it. We have another question from Nanda. Yeah, Sonia, could you please announce?
Sorry, Dennis. We synchronized. So, do you think physical art and NFTs can be marketed as a complete package? Meaning the digital art is more of a certificate of authenticity?
Well, it happens at the moment to have this trend of NFT art, which are basically authenticate or validate, let's say, something physical. There is also in between models like Zine, which they kind of claim to be the 2.5 sort of a Web 2.5, not Web 2, not Web 3. Which basically are commissioning new work to artists in the form of NFT, which is redeemable for a physical work. Again, it's a model that are kind of at the beginning as well. It's experimenting. I think the business model probably is quite good. I kind of like the approach and the fact that the commissioning work, they fundraise to commission work as well. I think it's a bit like we do with the Infinity Art Museum, I have to say, which we didn't touch upon, but that's also another thing that we're doing together, where we're commissioning artists to produce work which will be collected in permanence on the blockchain and as an edition 0, let's say, and then there will be iteration of that work available for sale, basically, which with the income split in between the museums and the artists as a form of business model, basically. If that one will translate into physical work, there are some artists who wants to, for instance, which are also quite interesting. It's a conversation that we're having at the moment because the Infinity will launch in March.
I would make a small addition, like it would be natural if the artist or collector who cares about his physical art and obtained a certificate of authenticity for the physical art. So it's natural if he wants to secure his, let's say, digital reflection by creating NFT or securing his physical asset in the digital world, let's say on the other side of the mirror between physical and digital. So it's natural if he cares about his physical art. But if the collector doesn't have a certificate of authenticity in the physical world and wants to obtain an NFT for that particular world in the digital world, that sounds quite weird. I mean, and it raises some question why he or she wants to do so. So I would be happy if all the physical artworks had all the papers in the physical world, and then you can move originally, naturally to expand, let's say, your professional collectors or artists experience to the digital world. But if you have no papers and you do not care about maintenance of your collection, you just want to have some kind of digital certificate.
Yeah.
Why do you need it for?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. But there is also the third argument that say, you know, as a digital asset, you can actually have one digital asset and produce NFT on different blockchains of the same digital asset. Because at the moment, because it's decentralized, there's no sort of register or ledger who say, no, actually that asset has already an NFT on this blockchain. You cannot really do it on another blockchain.
That's why.
How do you fix that? You don't.
That's why a lot of companies who are thinking about the future, who are foreseeing the future, they are tending to implement multi-chain solutions, and also hopefully one day we'll have one big metaverse consisting of small monoverses. But
the interoperability, I think, is key here, which it goes a bit, you know, kind of the monoverse is, you know, in contraposition to the multiverse and the metaverse. So it's an interesting sort of conundrum, I think, that we still have to go through it and see how to make sense of it.
Yeah, it's like a big airport with a lot of gates assembled at one space, not, let's say, gates in different parts of the city. So you should travel between them, trying to avoid gaps and hazards. We still have 3 questions left. Sonia, yours one.
Yes, I actually want to shift focus to collecting. I was wondering if both of you actually collect digital art, and what's the story? Like, how did you start collecting?
So in my case, I come from a family of collector, and they collect ancient art and design. And for me, was kind of natural path collecting for me. At the beginning, I collected like a emerging artist, but was not about the medium. For me, was a emerging artist that I believe and I care. And at one point, digital art for me was exciting because I'm a traveler. And then it's much more easy have a digital asset, a digital wallet where you can show your collection. And yeah.
That's a perfect collection for nomads. And you, Alfredo?
I don't collect in principle. As a curator, I have this kind of almost ethical stance. I never collected because I need to keep the distance between my thinking process and what I have, whatever on the wall or on my mobile. So the only exception to go back to there is an exception that I have this kind of a fixation with sort of a very, very ancient portrait from 1300 to 1700. which I usually buy at auction houses and occasionally some dealers. And I kind of, I like usually they're small formats. Usually they are kind of unknown. They're anonymous. Usually they're also kind of now we will call it non-binary, kind of the subject matter of the portrait. You cannot really, that kind of you don't really understand what is this kind of a person, or who is it, and where it comes from. They're kind of androgyne in a way. And I love it, and that's what I do actually as a passion, which is very far from modern contemporary digital. Because I need to keep that distance. I just needed to do. I always done it.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. My question is, first of all, you just mentioned once again non-binary persons, and I was wondering. I mean, most of digital artists, I mean, crypto artists, NFT artists, are hidden behind the avatars. So let's say we know about their lifestyle, about their CVs, about their gender only from mass media, but the most are hidden, the same as collectors. So these are the basics of the crypto world. So is that so important? My question to you, is that so important nowadays? Who is hiding behind the avatars?
It's a statement. Every artist have a different point of view, and depend what they want to communicate. Basically, if they are much more political, sometimes they want to hide their identity, sometimes not, like the Pussy Riot. Depend. Each artist have a different idea about that.
I think there is also a bit of a tension between the idea of the blockchain as a decentralized and truly accessible and sort of a peer validated work of an artist, rather than going through the gatekeepers of the art school and the artist studio and the art collective and the non-profit and the small gallery and the big gallery and the museums and which is the structure which is existing, basically still functioning for the contemporary world. The NFT in the crypto art and digital art actually try to dismantle these things, so that when you're an artist, you drop an NFT. The NFT is collected at the beginning from other artists, from your peers. So it's kind of a peer validated. And from there, you start to grow some sort of a collectors group, which might include curators, might include other famous artists, might include actually collectors, digital collectors and collectors of physical art, and then expand it from that. And as you go further, I think there is this kind of a tension that you still want to keep that sort of a almost anarchic approach of the decentralized idea, but at the same time you want to progress. And for progressing, you probably need to make yourself, manifest. You need to kind of get in touch. You need to curate your group of collectors in a way, and probably you have to be out there. I think this tension is probably innate and is not solvable, but there is this thing.
Yeah, honestly, I think that at the beginning, in this crypto world, there was a lot of artists with hidden identity or collector, but now everyone knows who they are. Then they show at one point who they are.
And there is also this. I mean, it's fair enough, because some of the artists who has success in the space, they want also to kind of transmigrate that space, that success, into the other space, and why not? I mean, that's a legitimate expectation, I would say. So, but once you want to transmigrate, then you have to accept the structure that is already there.
I agree. Yeah, thank you. I agree with Auronda that nowadays the situation is being changed, and both artists and collectors would like to know more about personality, because it's all about personality. Art is a piece of let's say is a piece of personality hidden in the artwork. So, but my question was, my next question is, so, but from your opinion, just a quick reply, who wants to know the personality of artists? Who wants the artist to be public more? The artist himself, or the buyers and collectors? If to
Then
say
I think
either or.
it's a bit both. Then if they decide to be public, it's because for them it's much more convenient. And it's like Banksy. For him, for example, it's not convenient to be public, but I guess that
But people know who is.
yeah, people know me.
Of course.
And,
I mean, there is a bit of a danger, when you have this kind of a favorite writer or actor, and then you meet her or him, and it's like such a disappointment in person that you rather actually not have met her or him. So there is this thing actually that it can happen, but in the art is kind of probably a bit more fluid than that.
Thank you. Okay, let's get back to the plan of our webinar, Sonia.
Right. Actually, if we go back again to collecting, being there in digital art space already for a while, what would you say, like, what to do and what not to do when you collect digital art?
it's quite similar to contemporary art, because for sure you have to study and to scout artists like you do in contemporary art, and speak with them and have a lot of conversation, watch their collection, watch their artwork. The only difference maybe is that with digital art, you can have a Zoom call all around the world when you want, in the night, in the day, and have the limit about studio visit to travel, take a train, take a fly, and blah blah. It's much more quickly. Then you can discover, month by month, artists online.
I would agree. I think you need to spend time in the space, really, just to invest part of your day or part of your week. Say, okay, I do, for 1 hour a day or 1 day a week or whatever, I actually engage with sort of, the various Twitter, Instagram, Discord server. I participate to webinars like this one, a WhatsApp group, and you frequent actually the various NFT and crypto summits around the world. I mean, you have all the contemporary art, sort of a biennial art fair, international exhibition, and seminar. Then you have the digital art on top of it, which is basically double up your time commitment for us at least. But also as a collector, I think you have to dedicate, if you're serious about collecting in a good way, that's with a collection that has some sort of a value, cultural value as well as economical value, and you have to kind of spend time and invest your time as anything else that it would really actually is important for you.
Thank you. I think you just both mentioned what to do, and if we touch what not to do, what would be these things?
Then enjoy for sure, and don't follow only the market. For me, because if you are there only to make money, that is fine. It's less enjoyable, and art is not only market for me.
Yeah, I think it's probably I wouldn't just follow the auction sales or the latest sort of a super rare or OpenSea sort of a top lists, because then it's really limiting in A, in what you can get it, and B, what would be your cultural horizon. I think building your cultural horizon first is much more important than actually just following the trend. It's maybe sounds obvious to say, but I think it's an important rule to keep in mind.
Yeah, and discover some emerging artists is much more exciting.
Yeah.
That follow the page of all this marketplace on the top.
Follow curators. That's a good thing. Because we do the work for you. So
Of course.
So we have the third question from Annette, and that would be a perfect finish of our today's webinar. So I'm never sure if people are collecting NFTs to keep because they like the artwork or to trade. Should this matter to the artist?
I always believe that when an artist puts an artwork out in the world, he has no control on it, on the interpretation of it. He's obviously has his intentions behind doing that artwork, but how other people are perceiving it, it's totally outside their own control. So I don't think it wouldn't be sort of I don't think artists would really concerned with that. They shouldn't concern if it is actually for trading, investment, speculation, or just for an appreciation in terms of culture. It's beyond them. They can't control it. So why bother?
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, for sharing your ideas, and we truly wish you good luck with your XX NFT startup initiative.
Thank you. Yeah, for the next step for us is actually to scale up the platform. So we are kind of doing a round of seed investment now, because we want actually to bring it to the kind of a multiplicity sort of umbrella that we were talking at the beginning. That's the next step, really.
Cool. I mean, please apply to Feel Arts and Tales Accelerator. Still 2 weeks ahead. So
we will.
That's the chances of obtaining investment, because the acceleration will result in a demo day in April.
Yeah, great.
Still, I believe that the idea you've chosen and the way you're working that through, and making all the customer discovery, customer development, so you're in the right way. And besides any acceleration, you're obliged to success.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you. It's very nice.
It was wonderful to have you, and thank you for your time. I think we had such a great engagement from the audience as well, so many questions, and we touched so many topics today. So thank you both.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, and see you everyone on our last webinar this year. In a week, we'll be talking about artificial intelligence in art.
Oh,
brilliant. That's so exciting for artists and curators as well. It's really great. So controversial and so exciting at the same time.
Okay. See you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.